had probably for the last couple of years prior tried to lose weight on my own, but trying like different diets and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
went paleo for like a year to 2 years, somewhere around there. And it worked for a little bit, but it was just too eliminating. There were too many restricting, I guess, too many things that I couldn't have. And so it just didn't end up vibing really with me and like my end goals of where I needed to be, just for maintaining for, purposes going forward for the rest of my life. And when I started the academy, I was like 100 and I think, well, before I started the academy, I was like 165.
Wow.
And my goal the whole time has been to get close to 140, just really depending on, I don't know, how I feel versus exactly like
Yeah.
dependent on that scale number.
Right.
Um, and so I don't know, I was just lost. Like there was so many different things that I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Sometimes like the internet will say one thing is good for you, and then other times it'll say one thing is bad for you. And so it was just constantly like too much for me to wrap my head around. That was definitely a struggle trying to figure out like what I'm actually supposed to be doing, and not just like on an overall standpoint, but what's supposed to work specifically for me. I'm not the same as everybody else, and my goals are going
Yeah.
to be different than everybody else. And when you're doing that alone, it's really hard to figure that stuff out on your own versus just trial and error. And it's a lot easier when you have someone to go to and be like, okay, this is what you should be doing. This is how you should be doing it. And this is where you should be focusing your attention versus, all these other things.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And was the academy worth it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It was exactly what I needed.
Mhm.
So I'm very, very happy.
Good, yeah, and the pictures show it all. Your final finishing photo and your thumbs up. And I was like, yes, it made me laugh. And what was your personal biggest takeaway from the academy? What was your biggest kind of like breakthrough, as it were?
I think more on mindset goals, really than anything. I always had really bad habits. And so I think it was able to teach me how to, make better habits and, be more consistent. And, just that repetition of, finding what I like to eat and
Mhm.
staying with eating those things, but then also giving myself the freedom to eat, if I want chocolate, I can have chocolate. If I want ice cream, I can have ice cream,
Yeah.
and without having to restrict those things. And I think that made it better for me long term going forward,
Right.
in order to keep my results for life.
Who would you recommend it for? And would you recommend it? And who would you recommend it for?
Probably anybody that's struggled, I think, going forward. And I think sometimes too, you have to do trial and error of what's going to work for you. But I think there's a lot of misconception with all these people doing keto and paleo and, all these other diets, whereas I feel like they're just going to end up in this long-term cycle. And if I can prevent somebody else from going through all those wrong steps that I did, I think that would be, great for anybody.